Everyone, welcome to the When at Work podcast. You're with the host, Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Peg, Fitzpatrick and Sarena Diamond. Welcome to the show, wonderful ladies.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Awesome. Oh, that was a real dead set race to get ready, but we got there. Everyone's going, what are you talking about? Never mind. Let's tee up the board and have a look at the categories for our guests. The categories
Shoot, I can't even read those.
are Lando Lakers, so these are LA questions, from the Latin, college nicknames the same. So I think it might be things like if there's a sports team, maybe a football team at one university has a nickname, and then at another one it has the same name, something like that. City seals are not the fish eating variety, I don't think. Appetizers, that bit at the end. These are all answers that have bit in them, like drill bit. I've probably given away an answer there. Maybe. All right, Sarena, on the left, you can kick things off. What would you like?
Let's go with that bit of the end for 100.
The bit of the end for 100. This type of card can be used to make an electronic withdrawal of funds on deposit in a bank.
Debit card.
Sounds good to me.
Oh, what is?
Got it right. And you even gave me the what is, which is what I should be doing. And in my answers, I don't have that. Well done, Sarena. That's 100 points. You're in control.
Woohoo! Let's go with that bit at the end for 200.
200. A document or object shown in court and identified as evidence.
What is affidavit?
Jan?
What is exhibit? Exhibit A.
Exhibit is correct. You're in control.
I will try appetizers for 100. The easiest category, maybe.
Sorry, Peg.
We'll see.
Peggy, I called you Jan for a second. Appetizers for 100. The signature appetizer at P.F. Chang's is chicken in cups of this vegetable.
Ooh, what is... Oh...
What vegetable do you get at Chinese? It's Chinese, isn't it, P.F. Chang's? Chinese food?
Yeah, P.F. Chang's is Chinese, but I cannot think of what vegetable it would be in.
You've got bok choy.
That would not work. I said pumpkin, but I don't think it's right.
I've never had pumpkin in Chinese. Let's take a look.
Me neither.
It's lettuce. Are they little Chinese lettuce?
Okay. So I was thinking soup would not hold up for that, but what do I know?
Somebody should make some Chinese with pumpkin for Peg. You're in control still, Peg.
I got it wrong though, doesn't it go to Sarena?
But you got one right, and it stays in control until Sarena jumps in.
Okay, I'll try appetizers for 2 then.
Appetizers for 200. A delicious hors d'oeuvre is this French cheese, perhaps de melon, baked in pastry.
What is... Well, it's... oh gosh, how do you say it in French?
If you know, Sarena,
it's baked brie. It's baked brie.
Baked brie, the cheese. Let's take a look. Is correct. Well done, Peg.
Ooh, I was trying to remember it in French, but I couldn't. I'll take appetizers for 3, please.
Brie probably is French. Appetizers for 300. French named small piece of bread or pastry with a savory topping served with drinks at receptions or formal parties can feature a wide variety of toppings.
I want to say that's hors d'oeuvre.
I think it is.
No.
Sarena, what was your thought?
I was thinking it was the crudité, but it's not.
Crudité is, those are vegetables.
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
It is canapé.
Oh, canapé.
Oh, canapés. Canapés. Oh.
I was going to say canape because I'm such a caveman. Peg, you're still in control.
Okay, let's try the LA category for 100.
Land of Lakers. Sean Connery went shoeless when imprinting his feet in the cement at this Hollywood theater.
What is Grauman's Chinese Theater?
Ah, yes, the old famous Grauman's Chinese Theatre. Well done, Peg. You're in control, and you're on 500 points.
LA for 2, please. I'm playing like for real money. Sorry, Sarena.
That's perfectly good. This is not my strong suit.
Well, if it's real money, it'll have to be a check made of rubber. All right. LA City's fathers renamed Wace, I think it's pronounced Wace Avenue, this street. Hollywood and Wace just didn't cling.
It's what is
it
Vine?
What?
Vine.
Vine. Oh, Hollywood and Vine. And was it Wace or Weiss, the previous one? Do we know?
That I don't know. It's probably Waze. But
Hollywood and Vine.
I think it's Vine.
And what's in the corner of Hollywood and Vine? It's right.
Everything.
Everything, yeah. The walk, the Hollywood walk.
Yeah.
Peg, you're still in control. What would you like?
LA for 300, please.
LA for 300. This LA arena, home to the Lakers, and the site of 9 Grammy Awards, is named for an office supply company.
What is the Staples Center?
The Staples Center. Is that why it's called that? Well
yeah.
done, Peg.
All of our stadiums are sponsored by companies.
I hate that.
Peg, are you in LA by any chance?
No, I'm not. I just went this summer, though. I do like Jeopardy, though. May I have LA for 400, please?
Land of Lakers, LA 400. The Nisei Week Festival is held every August in the section of Los Angeles known as Little This City.
What is Little? I want to say it's like Chinatown, but Little China? I don't think that's right, though.
Serena, do you have any idea?
I would guess Little Italy.
I would guess either
Japan.
Sounds
Japanese.
Is there a Little Tokyo?
I don't think so, but maybe. But that's what I was thinking. It's Japanese.
It was
could be
Little
Koreatown.
Tokyo. It's called Little Tokyo in LA, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I know. I've heard of the Little China. No, Little whatever it's called, Chinatown. Who's in control? Peg, you're still in control.
LA for 500.
LA for 500. Simon Rodier built the folk art towers named for this South LA community between 1921 and 1954.
I'm going to guess. I'm going to say what is Watts, but I don't know if that's
Watts Towers. Let's take a look. Well done. The Peg is the LA queen. Well done.
Good for you.
I've done this to my friend Sandra, who lives in LA. I'll try appetizers for 400.
Appetizers for 400. Baba Ganoush is a dip made with this large purplish member of the nightshade family. Eggplant. Serena, well done.
Are we allowed to answer any question?
Yes, you can. You can jump.
Okay.
You can
See,
jump
there's no
in.
buzzer. It took me a little
there's
while.
a buzzer, so we have holler. We did have buzzers, but it was so confusing and it would always cause problems and not work. So we holler.
Gotcha. Sorry about that, Peg.
No, go for it. It's your.
Let's do appetizers for 500.
Appetizers for 500. A popular Louisiana appetizer, crawfish tails that have been shelled, battered, and deep fried are called Cajun. They have the crawfish tails,
lobster,
deep fried.
Cajun lobster?
Cajun lobster. That makes sense. Do you have any idea, Peg? Do you want to have a guess just in case?
Not for the crawfish tails. Cajun. I can't think of anything that starts with Cajun. But
popcorn. Cajun popcorn.
Have
you heard of that?
I've been to Louisiana a bunch of times too.
I want some. Who's in control? Serena.
I am. Let's do colleges for 100.
Colleges. Nicknames the same for 100. Somebody's dog's getting excited. Me too. U of Washington, Yukon.
What is Huskies?
Now, who was first?
I think I was.
I think you were too,
you're
just by a hair. But I didn't want to. I just wanted to see what you guys thought. I agree. You just got in there on the Huskies, and it's correct. Well done.
From the Latin for 100.
From the Latin for 100. This opposite of analog comes from the Latin for finger.
What is digital?
Well done. I was going to say Latin for digit, and it would have been too easy.
Then you would have been, yeah.
You got it. Peg.
From the Latin for 200.
Latin for 200. This holy synonym for wedlock comes from the Latin for marriage. Holy.
Matrimony. What is matrimony?
It's got to be. Let's take a look. Matrimony's tricked. What on Peg?
Latin
Good
for
job,
300. That was a total guess.
Latin for 300. That's funny. The name of this arm bone is from Latin for shoulder.
What is the humerus?
Humerus,
Good one.
the funny bone. And it's actually not even a bone, it's a nerve, if I'm not mistaken. Well done, Serena. You got it.
What is Latin for 400?
Latin
answer before the question.
400. This word, meaning to compel into military service, comes partly from the word for the Latin word for right. Compel into military service. What they do over
what do you
in
call that?
Israel, and they used to do it in Australia. What do you?
Well, they do it in the U.S. too. What is in script?
Oh, so close. Time's up.
What is enlist?
Conscript.
Oh, conscript.
You were close. You were
there
in
you
the
go.
right neighborhood. The brain was poking around in the right area. Just couldn't quite get it.
We call it something different here, so I was thinking it didn't have anything to do with the Latin for rights. So
What do you
There
call
you
it
go.
in the
All
States?
right, let's go with
Forced military service.
to draft.
Draft. In Vietnam.
that actually would work for right too. So okay,
Right, but
whatever.
it's that's probably was that the answer? What was the
No, it
answer?
was conscript.
Conscript.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Draft.
Draft. Interesting. That, yeah. Draft.
Close.
Right.
Let's go with from the Latin for 500 just
Latin
to clear it out
for
and give Pig another $500.
Ovid used this Latin plural meaning transformations for a title. I don't know who Ovid was, first of all. Latin plural meaning transformations. So more than one transformation for a title. Who knows?
What is metamorphosis?
Oh, if you get this, Peg, you are an
Maybe.
absolute champion. Metamorphosis is correct. What on, Peg?
What? Ooh, that was a guess.
Let's get the
I was
whole
thinking major at one point, but I never heard that before. We'll try college nicknames the same for 2.
college nicknames the same for 2. The dog agrees. Gonzaga and Yale.
Oh, I don't even know what Yale's is. I want to say Huskies again, but I don't think that's right. Yale Bulldogs? No, that's Georgia.
Yale Bulldog. What is Bulldogs?
Bulldogs. Let's take a look. Is correct. Well done, Serena.
Cool. All right, let's go with colleges for 300.
Colleges, nicknames the same for 300. West Virginia and Appalachian State. What do you major in an Appalachian State? Banjo?
We'll say Huskies again.
Huskies. It's the Mountaineers.
There you go. That makes sense.
Mountaineers.
Appalachian.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
Never heard of them.
Let's go with college for 400. They're getting harder.
College for 400. Temple and Rice. Temple sounds like a Mormon university. I don't know if it is.
No.
No.
It's
No,
not.
it's not.
Okay.
And I don't know either.
Oh, it's in Arizona, is it? Temple, Arizona?
Maybe.
Oh,
No, that's no, that's Tempe.
okay, see. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's take a look. The answer is owls.
Nope, did not know
okay.
that.
Didn't either.
All right.
Let's clear it up with college for 500.
College goes for 500. University of Houston and Washington State.
What is Cavaliers?
Cavs. Let's take a look. Cougars.
Oh,
all
got
right.
the first letter right.
First letter.
Both of you are Cougars. Sorry.
All
Continue.
right. All right. So let's go with the bit of the end for 300.
That bit at the end for 300. Psychological term meaning to consciously or unconsciously restrain an impulse, which I didn't do just then. Psychological term meaning to consciously or unconsciously restrain an impulse, and it's got bit in it. And when you drink, your ability to do this diminishes.
Nope.
No
Not coming
idea.
to me.
I think it's inhibit. Let's take a look. Inhibit is correct. Well done, Julian.
Inhibit. All right.
All right.
Isn't it funny how you get a bit word in your head and then you can't unthink
You
of
can't go off
Yeah.
it. Once you got it, you're
category.
stuck on it.
All right, let's do that bit at the end for 400.
That bit at the end, 400. So you and Amy found a place together. Mind if I ask, are you going to get married or just do this?
What is cohabit?
Cohabit sounds good. And it's correct. Well done, Miss Diamond.
Woo-hoo. All right, let's finish it up with 500.
500. An eye socket.
Orbit. What is it? Orbit.
Actually, just add a little bit onto that.
It's orbital.
What is orbital?
Yep, you got it. Orbit. Oh, actually, you were right the first time.
There you
Orbit. Another bum stare, courtesy of Julian. What would you like?
City seals for 100.
City seals for 100. The City Seal of Omaha features a farmer and a Native American standing on the banks of this river.
What is the Mississippi?
Now, it looks like it says Missouri River.
Yeah, that would make sense. Omaha's west.
Yeah, I couldn't think of what. I guess. City. I can't even read the category again. 200, please.
City seals for 200. St. Anthony Falls and a suspension bridge across the Mississippi River are on this Minnesota city's seal.
What is St. Paul?
St. Paul, let's take a look. It's Minneapolis.
Well, Minneapolis, St. Paul is kind of connected.
Is it? It's one of those twin city things, is it?
It is. Yeah. What is City Seals for 300?
City
This is, by the
seals.
way, a very hard category.
Very hard.
Geography. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Who looks at the city seals? You'll find a hornet's nest on a tree branch depicted on this North Carolina city's seal. North Carolina. What do they got down
I can only
there?
think of one city there, and I don't think it's that.
What is Charleston?
That's in South Carolina.
Oh, that's right. Charlotte.
Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, I could only think of Asheville.
That's why they're called the Hornets. Learning something every day.
Oh, there you go.
City Seals for
400. This peak is depicted in the background of the seal of Portland, Oregon. What peak is it?
What is Mount Rainier?
Let's take a look. Mount
That's in Washington.
Hood.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, we'll close this out for 5.
Last question. Approved in 1939, the seal of this city in New York State features a barge being towed through a canal.
Oh, I want to say, gosh, there's so many cities that have Albany, maybe?
Albany. What do they got up in up the top there?
Well, the canals go through all the cities. It goes through Buffalo, Rochester.
Oh, they
it goes
do go
all the
through
way across-
Rochester.
Yeah, it goes all the way across.
Could be any of them.
It's not Rochester.
Let's take a look. It's Buffalo.
Ah.
Well
Did I
done
say
to our
Buffalo?
fantastic guests. That was a great
said
game.
Albany.
Some
I was
hard
gonna
questions.
guess Buffalo, like at the end. Sorry.
It was right on the tip of your tongue. 1,400 for Sarena and 2,900 for Peg. Well done, Peg. Well done, Sarena.
very nice.
Great job.
You win.
Let's turn the music off. All
I
right.
feel like getting the Buffalo question wrong. I did not win.
You're very hard on yourself there, Peg. All right. Well, Sarena, tell us a little bit about what you're up to. What do you do at Diamond Solutions? And are you related to one of the Beastie Boys?
I am not related to the Beastie Boys, although when I was a kid, I used to tell everyone that Neil Diamond was my uncle, just because it was the only thing I
Neil
could think of.
Diamond, Crunchy Granola.
I am an organizational change transformation leader, consultant. I have escapee, as someone calls it, but recovered from corporate experiences that started with Accenture, ended with IBM, and lots of Fortune 100 companies in between that really talked about business transformation. And I have gone out on my own and am helping companies from $1 billion. I had a client this year that's $1 billion company, and all the way down to those that are trying to make their first 100 million, in adopting change and helping those leaders make it better.
And what are the barriers to change that you need to, because it's quite hard working with large companies because they've got all these moving parts, and the culture, it takes a lot of effort to change. What are some of the things that you come up against?
Probably the biggest barriers are around communication and helping people to see themselves in the vision that the leader has. So communicating that vision effectively is really the crucial thing that I deal with a lot with the leadership teams that hire me. They're trying to help their people come through those changes. Or in some cases, they haven't figured out that that's what's going to be required. Just telling people what to do is rarely long-term sustainable. So I really help them. Usually it's with helping them to see that bring people along.
The other question I've got, going backwards a bit, is when people go from executive world to consultancy, I always wonder, how do you do that? Like, you stick your shingle up, and how do you actually find people to work with?
You network, right? I have built a large number of people that I've worked with or for through my career. And as soon as I put my shingle out, literally I had people that were so excited that I was now going to choose my own challenges, right? The client challenges that I got to pick. But I also, at the same time, have adopted a really well-established relationship with talent sourcers, companies that specialize in placing individual contributors, individual experts. And so I work with them very, very well, and happy to have lots of people trying to bring my experiences to a client base, whether it be through my own network or through theirs.
Interesting. And the other question I had for you is, how do you get the employees on board when say you're the consultant for this big company, and just say I'm working in the IT department, and then they make this announcement, and I'm probably inclined to roll my eyes. How do you sort of get the employees on board?
The biggest challenge in all transformations is about building belief in what that outcome is going to be. And every organization is different. Every IT department, every operations team, they're different. Truly understanding what it is that's, in some cases, pride-based, pride of the work that they're doing, commitment-based, but it almost always focuses on their ability to see the ultimate vision that the leader wants to achieve and be able to make themselves a part of that vision. I think a lot of leaders forget that they spend a lot of time thinking about here's where we're going and here's what we need to be doing as a company. And so then they just come out with a statement. Sometimes here's the email, here's the new initiative we're doing. And they've forgotten how much time and effort they put into it, thinking about it day and night in some cases, and bringing their employees through it. So I always start from a people perspective, because people can make or break the effectiveness of change. And all of the metrics are clear. 70% of organizational transformations that matter will fail. 70%. It's time tested. It's Harvard Business Review, McKinsey, they all say the same thing. And it's always about not bringing people through the change, building belief, enabling those behaviors, and then helping them to sustain the change.
Yeah, so you've got to have good leaders, but also the ability to build teams. And often you have teams that don't work together. They don't really trust each other because they're sort of competing against each other. So how do you build stronger teams that really, sometimes you're in a team and you just know this thing is humming and everyone's on the same page. How do you get that?
It is not a simple answer. I'd love to be able to say, oh, here's what we do. We sit and do this puzzle together. It is very much about the culture and the dynamics of the individual organizations. Every client that I've ever worked with has those pockets of folks. And part of that is really about helping them to understand what's in it for them. And I know it seems kind of cliche, but leaders often miss that, right? Leaders many times will think, because I've told them they should know. But helping those ones that are resistance to change, helping them to overcome most resistance to change is fear-based. They are afraid either of not being the expert in the new space. They're afraid of not seeing what their value is, or that they, in some cases, are just afraid of doing things differently and maybe making a mistake. So when I work with teams, I often get to what's the undercurrent from behind that resistance, and then making sure that the value is very clear and communicating. I will tell you, I have going at it from this perspective. There's lots of ways that it will fail. All that that you've talked about, some of the things where they're resistant. But when you go about it from an organizational basis, from a people and a human-centric basis, it happens successfully 100% of the time.
Yeah. And do you find that it's better to work with like startups or larger companies? I can see pros and cons in both.
It's funny. That's the conversation that I was just having earlier this week. This year alone, I had a leadership team, C-suite leadership team for $1 billion professional services company, and I also had a client that was a C-suite team for approaching their first 100 million. They came at it with different problems, but at the end of the day, the solution all was based in the same place. It was about leadership approach. It was about culture. It was about the ways we went around driving adoption of changes and long-term sustainability. So I think at the end of the day, it's not about the size of the company. It's not even about whether you're a privately held or publicly traded company. It really is about the people that need to be engaged and inspired in order to ignite that change to happen. And that's where I love working with teams that get that that's the concept. I've certainly turned down opportunities to go tell them what to do, because there's plenty of leaders that will just say, here's what I want them to do. You're going to go tell them what to do. And I politely suggest to them that that's not going to be sustainable long-term. And then we usually, if I've not been successful in suggesting that there's another approach to making the change effective, I'll choose not to work with them, because they ultimately aren't going to be. Command and control does not create engaged employees.
Yeah, gotcha. And you work all over the United States, or mostly around where you live?
I have been. I have been on a plane all over the United States, and also in Canada. So multinational, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great. And if you're out there and you want to learn more, probably the first thing to do is learn more about Sarena and what Sarena's doing. I've got Sarena's contacts in the show notes if you want to follow her on social media and LinkedIn and all of that stuff.
Fantastic.
And it's a big one, changing cultures, and it can be so great. Like, it's not just about being more profitable; it's about everything. When you have a good culture and good teams, it's a great place to work. So thank you very much, Sarena Diamond.
Sure.
Let's have a round of applause for Sarena. All right, Peg, tell us a bit about what you're up to. You help people
my website.
with their social media. And what are people doing wrong with that? Me, everything. That's what I do wrong.
What are people doing wrong? Well, it depends. I mean, sometimes my book is specifically geared towards small businesses. So sometimes with small businesses, they've hired someone to work for them and they didn't really know what they wanted. And so they didn't really get what they needed, because either the person who was working for them just really didn't know what they were doing, or they couldn't get the brand right because the brand didn't even know what the brand was.
Yeah.
So sometimes they get off to the wrong start. Sometimes that causes them to stop doing anything at all. And then they just quit and they say, well, social media didn't work. I tried it. They tried it for 2 weeks. They tried it for a month and it didn't change anything. But social media takes time. So, a short little effort isn't going to really get you where you need to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that say they do social media management, it's hard to get somebody on board. Like you talked about the brand, working on that first, I suppose, the messaging and all of that. Have you got some examples, I guess, you could give us of how you have helped people develop their messaging and then working on that in the social media aspect of things?
So, I mean, if you're not really sure at all what your brand is, that means you haven't built it yet. So you might a lot of times people think, well, I have a logo and I have a brand color and that's my brand. And there's really a lot more to it than that. You need to come up with like what your brand stands for. Are you like an upbeat, positive brand? Are you kind of like a sassy brand like Wendy's? Is a hamburger place here in the United States, and Wendy's has like very sassy, funny social media. So they kind of poke fun at other brands and stuff. So you can't like really combine different kinds. So if you're like that sassy brand, that's your brand voice, and you would want to stay consistent with that. Sometimes you have like a very ultra professional brand that's more like maybe a bank or something that is friendly but more serious. So it's all a matter of like nailing down what those pieces of your brand are, and then just creating along with your logo and your brand colors that brand voice and the consistency that for your company. So when people say, "Oh, they see something," they know that that is your company and it's consistent with other messages, because that helps build trust with customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And you worked with Canva. Tell us what you did for them. They're an incredible company.
So I worked with Canva when they were just a wee little baby startup, um, in Sydney, where they still are in Sydney. But so I was the first head of social strategy for Canva. So when I started working with them, they had been around just in Australia, and nobody knew who they were anywhere else. They were trying to get the word out. But as most startups, well, most tech startups, they spend most of their money on engineering and not as much money on marketing because they're trying to build the thing. So I started with Canva. I was like employee like 24 or 25 with Guy Kawasaki. And we worked with Canva, and I basically I kind of revamped their social media. They had started, but they didn't really have someone at that time that was dedicated. And I ran their blog, I ran all their social media, and I basically just got the word out and get on my drums and said, "Hey, everybody, this is this great thing, and everybody should try it. You should use this to make your graphics." And people were like, "We already use, the other one." But it's just a matter of convincing people to try it and use it. And now, of course, everybody, globally knows who Canva is, and millions, probably tens of millions people use it every day. But when I was there, we were just like watching every little new customer was a big deal. Not that every customer still isn't, but so I worked with them at the beginning and got the word out about who they were.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great company. I love it how they've got so
It
much
is.
free stuff, and that's how they sell their subscriptions, by just overloading you
Yep.
with value. That's
Yep.
awesome. And what types of companies do you, now that you've been doing it for quite a few years, what types of companies do you mostly work with?
Well, right now I work with one company that I've worked for the whole time I've been in social media. I worked with Canva. This company I work for was part-time at the beginning. So now I only work with that company. I don't do client work. I wrote a book on for small businesses to use social media, but I personally am not taking clients anymore. So that would be no clients.
I gotcha. And your book,
My client work is done.
you're done. The Art of Small Business Social Media. When did you write that?
Yeah. I started writing it during the pandemic because so many small businesses really just failed. If people had no website and no social media during the pandemic, they basically disappeared. Those businesses closed because they couldn't reach their customers. They had no way to tell people they were open this day but closed another day. So I live in a small town, but in big cities and all over the US, and I'm sure in Australia too, businesses just closed because they did not know how to translate their offline message online. So this book is really how to do everything from the beginning to the end. If you are a small company who is, just getting started, or if you, like I mentioned before, if you tried social media, but it didn't really work out, this book will show you what you need to do to get it right this time.
Awesome. And do you want to just give us a couple of little key bits in the book if you can?
Well, I mean, the key things are like we talked about a little bit already, building your brand because that is a hard thing for small businesses to do. And basically, I break down everything. Like you might hear like you need to use a content calendar, and you might think to yourself, I don't even know what that is. Like, I don't even know what kind of content to create. So I even break down like this is the type of content you need to create, what social media platforms you should pick, because the answer isn't the same for all small businesses. It depends on what kind of product or service you have. Sarena might do great on LinkedIn, but TikTok is probably not maybe her place where she's going to get those clients, because the people on TikTok want to learn something quick and be done with it. She wants long-term consulting customers. So LinkedIn would be better for her. So it breaks down like, where you should be, what you should say, and then how to create that content, how to use Canva, and just all of it. So there's a lot to know. Like, it's hard to break down into like one specific thing, but just knowing that the advice that you should be everywhere and that you need to be on all social platforms is not correct. It's better to pick the one place that you can do really well and do a great job there instead of doing a poor job on a lot of places.
That was my next question, so I'm glad you answered it. Yes, just I was going to ask you, should people be across everything or just specialize in one? And according to Peg, get one and do it well. Then I agree with that.
If that goes well, then you can repurpose your content other places. But, doing really well on one platform as a small business is important. And you need to build your community there because the algorithms on all the social media sites are so hard now. It used to be you could have a Facebook page, and if 10,000 people followed you, 10,000 people would see your content. But the algorithms have really shut that down.
Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? Thanks, Zuck.
It totally does.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's great. If you want to find out what Peg's doing, have a read of her book, Social Media. It's time for you to get a handle on it. And how long does it take? I mean, you can transform. If you really focus on it, get some help from somebody like Peg, how long can it take before you see significant changes?
Oh, that's a good question. Significant change. I mean, if you're hiring someone to do it, I would recommend number one, checking to see what they've done with other clients, and then also having them do monthly reports for you so you can kind of see what's going on along the way. I would say, gosh, I mean, to see significant results, like 3 to 6 months, definitely not like it's not overnight. And even 3 to 6 months, then you're building your clients
That's
up
the
and you're
beginning.
getting more followers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it does take some time. You can do things like location tags and adding hashtags for locations to connect with local people, because it depends on if you're like local or global, depending. But it does take a while. You see these people now who are like, I built my Instagram account to 10,000 followers in 30 days, and this is what I did. All you have to do is follow this and buy my course. Like, those things are like flash in the pan, and it's not really going to help your business. So
Yeah, they bought followers on Fiverr. That's what they did.
or they just stayed online nonstop and posted like 6 reels a day, which is not sustainable for small businesses.
Yeah, that was
A lot of times they overpost.
Yeah, and do you think small businesses should try doing it themselves, or should they immediately get somebody, a professional?
Small business owners can do a great job at it. I like to say that they're like their passion for their small business is really a superpower, and they can explain what they do better than anybody else can. So, I work it down in easy to break down pieces. So if you can do it yourself, that's great, because a lot of small businesses don't have money to pay. Like even Canva back in the beginning, taking engineering money away to have marketing money is if you're the only person doing everything, it's hard. But I don't know. They usually don't have extra money to pay someone because it's not cheap even to hire anybody to do your social media. It's not inexpensive because it's a lot of work. So I do teach ways to do your own social media without hiring someone. Because it is possible. And like I said, it is your superpower knowing everything about how things are made and who you're trying to reach and all those things. So
I reckon hire someone.
You can do it.
Hire someone in the beginning at least, and then they will kind of get you on the right track. And if you can't afford to,
if you can, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could hire parts of it out. Like you could hire someone to create your logo for sure. You could hire someone to create your brand, help you with your brand voice and everything. And then you could have somebody help create a content plan that you could reuse every month. So you could certainly hire out parts of it, or go to like Creative Market is a website that I like where you can buy special templates that aren't on Canva, but you can use them on Canva. So they're kind of custom. So you can take those and add all your brand colors on there. So it's not just a Canva template that everybody uses. So there's ways to do things inexpensively too.
Definitely. All right. Some great advice from Peg Fitzpatrick. Check out Peg's book. Links are in the description. Thank you very much, Peg Fitzpatrick and Sarena Diamond.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, Julian.
I noticed how the dog waits for the right time before he pipes in, and he agreed and thanked you. And thanks for listening and watching, everyone. I'm going to wrap things up. Wonderful episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.